now I have a whole lot of questions on individual cars. So the first one comes from Sergio Goldbach. Sergio runs a restaurant that has 10,000 cars in it, Florida, worthwhile seeing. He's also a Guinness Book record holder for the largest toy car collection, and he particularly collects Batmobiles. He has everything from 1:1 scale to, I think, 1:240 scale. He wants to know, of all the many castings you guys did, which one did you have the most fun designing, and which one did you like most at the end?
Well, for me, I'll never forget the steering rigs and GMC motorhome, and some of the earlier cars from the early '70s. I mean, middle '70s actually. But GMC motorhome is quite a story in that if you make it to scale, it would fit in the package. We brought it down to 1/64. So it's a little out of scale. Plus, I took 10 linear feet of the middle, so that would make it down to 3 inches. I got the plans from GMC Corporation. They sent me the blueprints, and we were able to make more accurate rendering because, it's just a loaf of bread. It's not much to it, but I think Larry did a great job on detailing and tampo graphics.
One thing you have to remember in the Hot Wheels, the scale was the size of the package. So a Volkswagen would be the same size as a cement truck. So it really didn't make a difference. And then when we came to this, we couldn't do a little tiny thing that was real long. So you had to squash it and pull it up. So that was kind of fun. And for me, I got so many of them, I love them all. But when the Bone Shaker, because of the guys that like the Bone Shaker, I learned to, the thing was just a sketch, and I think I threw it away once, and I pulled it out of the trash and looked at it again and said, this might be kind of fun. And so I took it from just a dumb idea into again, a dumb toy, and all of a sudden everybody liked it. So I'm sticking with the Bone Shaker.
Okay. And now you can drive it, right?
That's it?
Do you have a drive in it?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, I can't fit in it. So they wanted to do a video, and it's on.
Is that why they cut off the roof?
It's on reality. The head sticks out. I put it on YouTube. The problem was the steering wheel was here, and the door was here, and your brake wouldn't work, which is okay. You don't care about the brakes, but they wanted to make a video with it, and I says, I'll drive it, but you got to put me in a place where I don't need the brakes. So I went on an airstrip, and I went and did donuts and everything, but I had to downshift it, and try to get my foot over to the brake to finally stop it. So, yeah, it's tight in that car.
Excellent. So this is a question from Chicago. Lou227 wants to know, on the red line Rolls-Royce and the Mercedes-Benz Duke ADSL, the hoods open the wrong way. They hinge at the windscreen, the windshield. But the custom Corvette and the Maserati Mistral have their hoods hinged correctly. Was that a mistake? Or was
we can answer this real easy. We weren't there. That was Harry Bradley, and I don't know who the engineer was at the time, but yeah, that was before us.
Okay.
That was the first year, right?
Yeah, true. Sorry, Lou.
I would tend to think because staking, you couldn't get at the little thin cowl. It would probably warp like crazy.
Yes, there had to be some rigidity in the middle.
Yeah.
So maybe they had to stake it going back.
That would be
So next question comes from somebody called HW Collector, and he's in San Diego. Whose idea was the hot seat? And why? Did anyone complain about Hot Wheels making a toilet on wheels?
Luckily, I had nothing to do with that. You weren't there. He wasn't there.
I passed.
I can't remember who did it. Have you seen the latest? We have a
Mark Jones.
we have a one. Was it Mark Jones?
I think it's Mark Jones.
Have you seen the newest one?
Yeah.
The toilet seat moves as it goes down the track.
Oh, is that like your
like the shark? Yeah.
Right.
Got a new one, but yeah, that must have been Jones. That seems like a Jones.
All right, fair enough. Next question comes from Jason Duncan. This one is for Larry. Since you designed the 65 Mustang convertible and several other Mustangs, what Mustang casting is your favorite one to design and why?
Well, I worked in Detroit, and I was there at 65, so I was working on the 67, 68, those Mustangs. And I always drew hot rods with big hood scoops on them. And finally, my boss came to me one day and said, cars don't have that. This was the performance era, luckily. cars don't have that, and we could never do that. So I showed them how it could be done. You just you drain the water out here, and you scoop here, and you seal it, and it shakes and everything. So it became the shaker hood scoop. So I got to go with the 69 Mustang. The trouble is we never did one with the shaker hood scoop. So, but that's the car that should have the shaker hood scoop on it.
Right. Well, maybe that's.
I was going to say, yeah, that might be my next car.
Indeed. The next question comes out of London from Mighty Maverick. And he says, I'm a fan of the 1970 range. Those were the first ones he got, and he always wanted to know what was the story behind the Tri-Baby, the Mantis, the Peeping Bomb, and the Whipped Creamer. What's the inspiration behind those?
Well, we were doing crazy dream cars then, so I suppose there was not really a reason for each car, but all I can really tell you is the Tri-Baby is an easy one for me, because I came out of Detroit doing door handles and taillights and grills and everything. And the first day at Mattel, I sat down, they said, do a car. I said, I get to do the whole car? Well, what are you going to do? You're going to do a sports car, right? And so, and I had worked at Pratt & Whitney Aircraft, so that's why I got the turbine engine idea in the back and everything. So that's how the Tri-Baby came apart. It was my first real sports car that I got to design.
And who came up with the names?
We had a guy named Sid. Do you remember Sid? That was his job. Kind of a strange guy, and remember Sid? And he came up with some strange names, so it fit him.
And they were always accepted, or you had a negotiation with them?
I don't think we had an input then. Later on, we finally got some
A few
input.
things we did put in got through just because they liked it too. But otherwise, they had to come up
They
with
had a legal guy.
Cassandra.
Yeah, Cassandra, that's right. And again, up till about halfway through, they controlled the names. You could tell when they started naming the cars the right way is when we put our 2 cents in.
Right.
We finally got the names to match the cars. We did all that work to do a really neat car, and they had came in with these crazy names.
Any name you particularly hated and loved?
You love the Bubble Gunner? That was supposed to be a bubble gum machine, so I guess that was the name, So,
Okay.
yeah, but not my favorite.
Next question comes from Jean-Philippe Coté. He's out of New York, and he wanted to know, he writes, I always wanted to know why sometimes the model is based on a real car, but the name of the model isn't. For example, Hot Wheels produced a Ferrari 308, but it was named Race Bay 308. Do you only acquire the rights to the casting, but not the name of the car? That's his question.
They not very often use the real name.
In the early
Always
days.
something gimmicky.
That's all Zid's fault. Sid?
We're gonna blame Sid.
Okay.
It had to be something.
So what happened? Sid left, and then you guys suddenly were in charge? Or?
Yeah, we got in charge. We got to did the right names, So
That was a great cost cutting. The guy only did names.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, legal, we should say.
Right.
And I'll give you a story that kind of shows where things went. We never had a problem with legal. We could do any car, we could do any graphics, we could do anything we want. I designed, worked on the car for ZZ Top, the Eliminator Coupe, the little red coupe with the 2 Z's down the side now. I won't get credit for putting the Z's on the side, but I did the car. So Billy Gibbons, I met him when we were designing the cars and everything. So I thought, I'll do a Billy Gibbons car. He would like that, right? So I did the 34 Ford with the 2 Z's on the side. Well, they got a lawyer, and that lawyer really protected their brand. And that was the first time we got in trouble for doing a legal thing that wasn't legal. I mean, we had to pay him a bunch of money to keep the Z's on the car. So that was the first time. And then from that point, it just went crazy. And you can imagine the legal hassles of doing a NASCAR. Every tempo, every logo, every stitch, a little tiny thing on those cars, because we're trying to do them accurate, had to be legal. It had to be clear. You had Edelbrock, you had Bell helmets, you had all this stuff. So legal went from not caring whatever car we went to every little dot on that car.
And when was that?
It progressed,
Okay.
but ZZ Top car was really the beginning of it.
You remember the year when that was?
These guys probably know when I did the ZZ Top got better than I do.
Yeah,
Late 70s, yeah. So, and then, like I say, it just got bigger and bigger. In fact, one of the biggest departments right now is the legal department.
Yeah.
You have to clear the car, you have to clear the every tampo you put on the side, and every name you put on it, and everything, completely different.
I believe that was the 3-window 34.
Yep.
Yes. And but you know, there was another car that really they went right down to using a Dremel tool and taking the name off the bottom, and that was the NASCAR soccer.
That's right.
I think we called it Mountain View Soccer, and so we can't do that. And so we had to, you know, before they could ship them, they had to grind the name off. And then we called it
Racing soccer, Mountain View soccer,
Racing
Sandy
soccer.
Castle.
Is that Sid again?
No, this was us by the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, this was a legal thing. We had,
Right.
we were
couldn't
gone,
use
we
Mountain
were
View
using
Soccer.
it anymore.
Then we couldn't use NASCAR soccer. And then finally it was racing stuff.
Which everybody loves because they're hard to find, right?
Yeah.
That's half the fun.
True, true. Next question comes from Tom Kurtz. He's from Paris, and he wants to know, I understand both of you worked on the Leica T6, which seems clearly based on the Tyrrell P34. Was it changed as it was just a toy, or was it difficult, expensive to get a license with the model of the actual car?
I think in that case, we probably didn't want to go through all the licensing problems, and we just did it on our own. And I'm a little surprised that we didn't get called on that one, because it's pretty, you know, pretty easy to figure out what car that is. But I think we just, you know, like we saw the car on the magazines and everything, and it had 6 front wheels. We said, hey, that's a natural. We should do something like that. So I think it was one of those things we just did, hoping nobody would call us on.
I don't think Tyrrell would have cared.
Well, that's just it. Some people were glad that we did stuff.
Yeah.
And other people would just jump all over us.
There was not a lot of versions of that. I think it's not just the blue one, but you know, there is red.
Well, you asked this guy. I think there's 7 variations of it now. Probably some more out there somehow.
Yes, from India and Mexico and France.
France is a French word, yeah.
Yeah.
No, as an engineer, was this good on the track?
As good as any.
It had plenty of wheels to rub on the
Yeah.
sides, so it actually was pretty good compared to rubbing die cast on the sides.
Okay. So the next question comes from Johnson Johnson, and he wants to know who came up with the Sizzler's concept, and how did you choose a casting for the first prototype bodies?
Well, that came from preliminary design, of course, but the major influence in the engineering end was George Salakis. And my only involvement was towards the tail end when they did, you know, let's try it, chrome version, and this will have lights on it, and it's just a little bit different, you know. But that was the last of them for a while, then they came back again for a few years ago.
Well, I can remember when Freeland turned that thing over, it had a huge battery in it because there was no battery that small at the time. So it had a big battery with wires and everything, and it just went around track. They said, here it is. I said, I can't do a body around that thing. It's got this huge battery in it. So they went to a battery manufacturer and worked to get the battery down to the right size. And I personally think that would be a great thing to bring back with the technology now. Those batteries would probably run for a week, you know?
Sure,
They
but
make a big
then this has a small
That's what I'm
battery.
saying.
This is Samsung S7, and this
Put that in a Hot Wheel car and a Sizzler now, it would go crazy. You probably could even charge it on the run, you know? So I'm actually gonna propose that back to Mattel.
Okay, so we've got 2 ideas here.
Yeah,
Excellent.
We get the percentage.
Coming out this year. There's a new line of scissors coming out this year.
Is there?
Yeah, 10-second charges.
Yeah,
Kind
see?
of like XV racers though.
Yep, they look kind of like the XP.
Yeah, it makes so much sense.
It's gonna be a target.
This question is from Pittsburgh. It's somebody called 80s Kid. And he says in the 80s, Blackwell area, Hot Wheel made some unusual for Hot Wheel choices of cars, like the Pontiac J2000, the Omni 24, the Cadillac Seville, the Ford Escort, the Renault Le Car, and the Peugeot 505. But also the Dodge Arias wagon and the Chevy Citation. These were done in realistic paint colors, without wild graphics. They were all cool models that were ordinary and new, and very different to what you've done in the past. What happened with one?
This is an easy one. We should explain that when we pick cars, some years we get to pick cars. Other years marketing gets to pick cars. It matters who, you know, has control that year. Most of these, starting with the Pinto, there was a gas crisis. And they came and said, we're going to do gas crisis cars. I said, you know, these are Hot Wheels. They're going down the track, they're going fast. What do you do? So they wanted a Pinto and a Vega. Well, you know what I did, Pinto and Vega. But later on, they said, well, we need regular cars. And it kind of extended from that point of having, because of the gas crisis, it continued where we did regular dog cars for quite a while. And finally, we designed up the control back and the stuff we wanted.
How did that work? I mean, what was the fight?
Yeah, you can imagine, to pick a car, you fill a wall full of drawings and photographs and everything. And then if you go in there right now, it's the same thing. There's a big wall with cars for, sports cars and hot rods, and everybody's idea goes up on the wall. You start coming back and picking things. Well, if there's a marketing guy between you and says, no, we're not doing that hot rod with a big engine, we're doing the Peugeot or something. Yeah, I think at that time we were trying to get into Europe too, so Peugeot and a couple of those cars came up.
It required to do actually a few European cars back then.
I'm European. There's some better choices than the Peugeot 505.
But not what we were told. We were told that is the car you should do.
But I agree, I used to
Yeah.
walk into the store and I would see the Aries K-Wagon or
Yep.
the yellow.
Egg warmers.
Nobody liked yellow, I guess. They were all full, the bags were full of these Aries K-Wagon and Akin Pacers. They're the only things they didn't sell.
Yeah, for a while there it was.
They're probably still worth it back.
Yeah. Like $1.
The next question comes from a user that calls herself Rubber Ducky Chick, and she wants to know from you, Larry, when you used to put your phone numbers on your cars, she wondered how many calls do you get, and what would people ask?
Well, the story is I put my phone number on the car on the Larry's towing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So that's
Don't
the
look
number.
at that. Look at that number. I put it on it because I thought it'd be kind of a good business card, right?
Right.
You meet people and you hand the Hot Wheel to them and you say, "Give me a call if you want to do business together or something."
You can still do that.
Seemed like a good idea at the time. Well, the first phone call came about, I gotta say, 6 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Eve. Some kid was calling for Larry's towing. I just got this under the tree and I'm calling your Larry's house. I said, "Are your parents up?" "No, I'm playing with my Hot Wheels." I said, "Well, put it back down, go back to bed, and then the phone rang a few more times.
Is that kid in the room?
Yeah, probably. And the phone rang a few, off and on for a little while. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was I didn't have an area code on it. So every area code in the United States started getting that phone call. So we got a call from a minister in Chicago. And for some reason, Chicago kids love that number. And he said, "I'm getting phone calls like crazy." So as you can imagine, we were told to take them off.
I have something to add to that. The shield on the door is also a big gym
Oh, that's right.
thing. And we use that on the fire truck and fire eater and this one. That's a carryover, big gym.
I got to tell you a future story after that. Is a friend of mine who worked in Barbie. He tried to sneak his phone number on Barbie's bed. And he got caught. He said, "You can't do that." He thought, "Hey,
Do you remember any of the calls? Your wife
Oh,
is
yeah,
here, right?
she
Do you
remembers.
remember any of the calls? Do you field any?
Oh yeah, she was the one that usually got the call.
One time a husband called,
Oh, yes,
he was checking his phone bill, the phone calls, and he was suspicious of his wife, and she, "Hey, you not done anything wrong."
He was checking out his phone bill. Somebody was calling me all the time. He thought his wife had a thing going. So it was the kid calling. And I wasn't in on that one.
Okay. The next question comes from Florida, from a user that calls himself Lana Nini Nunu, and she wants to know, Torero and the Turbofire were the first original designs in the range. How did Hot Wheels decide to include original designs in the range? Was it always planned? And how did this approach work out?
Again, before us.
Yeah.
I would tend to think that when they first started, they did basically the custom stuff. They took a regular car, put a big engine in and everything. And they're designers. They wanted to do something a little wilder. It was probably Ira that started doing the wild shapes, because he did the twin wheel and all those kind of neat-looking cars. He had a whole series of cool-looking cars, and even the workhorses. They did great. It's probably Ira.
Okay. Well, hopefully, the next one is one of yours. Comes from Ireland. The user is called DeLorean fan, and he wants to know: is it true that Hot Wheels was going to make a DeLorean back in the 80s? but they had to modify the casting and release it as a Turismo. If so, what happened?
Okay, the original DeLorean was a mid-engine car, and they had built a mock-up of it, and they were testing it and everything else. So we copied that car. So the wheelbase was a little longer, the shape was a little nicer, and it was a nice car. The trouble is, by the time we tooled it, they had gone to the rear engine car, and this wheelbase moved, and the car changed shape. So DeLorean said, no, you can't do that car. You got to do the new car. Well, we weren't about to do two DeLoreans, so we modified it. Ugly grill and added a few other pieces to it to make it. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But
So
this-
after the two were built, they went in and
Okay.
EDM, the little details have changed them. But I have a few real ones.
Oh, do you really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
From, they were really
Because
good
the
ones.
very first ones.
Well, we need some images of those later.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That'd be a nice one.
Yeah. So I guess you waited until the company went bust and then made them again.
Yeah.
Years later.
Well,
and
the one, we did one now, right? I mean, that's what you're asking. By now, it's worth doing.
Yeah.
You know, back then, it was a car that we were pretty sure wasn't gonna be a big deal. And it wasn't worth doing two tools on it. Now it's well known.
Yes. Excellent. Next question comes from Ohio, Andy Sell, and he asked, can you talk about a few cars that you were going to make but did not? Or about Hot Wheels concept that could not be done and why and what happened?
Well, I know one car we didn't make, but we made a brass, and we made a prototype, and we made a toy show model, and it was this Mercury Cyclone. And I think it was the first year that I was there, or second or something like that. So it never went any further than that. In fact, I've seen I personally know of about 8 or 10 prototypes that were never got beyond the handmade stage. And some of them are pretty cool. I think could have been. And the Mercury, I don't have the slightest idea. It's a beautiful looking car, and I don't know why it never went any further. But maybe a legal problem.
Right.
I'll tell you another one was motorcycle, Mega Force motorcycle.
Oh, that's right.
It was way different scale, you know, more like even bigger than the Speed Eater and the first motorcycle we did. Ought to be in the very, you know, first, but the first would be Flying Colors Yacht. We had one with a yellow seat and one with a red seat. But about a little bigger than that, right?
Yeah, it was a good size. It was fit in the package.
Yes.
So it was
So
good
the
size.
Mega Force motorcycle did, you know, they built the tools and
Yeah.
everything that carried all the way to finish. I ordered some parts and put some together. Just because, you know, marketing might change their mind and they need to have some samples. So they sent it and printed it and finished up. And I've got a few raw ones out of them. That's another one I can call.
And of the ones you remember, I know Bruce Pascala has a few of
Yes.
these early.
Yeah.
Which one did you think was the coolest? That should have been done. I'm looking for a third one.
Yeah, again, I can mention a couple, but you've never seen them. It's one of those things that, you know, disappears.
Okay.
You know, there was one with the wings came out. It was really cool. It was nice. It never was made. I'm trying to think of some other ones that we did, but again, sometimes we would go to a model, handmade model, and you would look at it, and somebody would say, oh, we're not going to.
Well, more recent than those was the Beatnik Bandit 2.
Beatnik Bandit 2. Who did that?
I saw resin
Okay, so we did it, we made a Beatnik Bandit 2.
at about the time of
Prototype, and
the
then-
about the time of the Silhouette 2.
Okay, okay, that would make sense.
Okay. Next question is from David Durobi, and he said, was there ever a design or casting that the two of you fought over? Meaning, one of you wanted to design it, or you debated it, or there was interpretation, or stuff where you were not seeing eye to eye?
You do it.
Yeah, you should, it's your problem. No, we worked fine together, we had a great time. The two of us, like I say, back in the corner having a good time playing with cars, so you couldn't beat it. You know, we had a little track where we could play with, you know, try the cars out and things like that, so yeah, it was no problem.
We only made 6 new ones a year,
Boy, it was
and
that.
we counted 6. So, you know, it wasn't a lot of cars. did take a long time to get it to part of production. Plus, we had to go through all the preliminaries of making the, sample first, and the sheet. Yes, and we made, gosh, we acetate first, we had somebody hand carve it, for many years. we were doing that. And
You had,
then,
you had to do a hand carve,
right.
and you had to do a prototype for the toy shows.
Yes.
All decorated up, and most of those had the windows painted because they were solid.
So I hear all the time about this corner. How big was this corner? And what did you do?
Oh,
Did you
just-
raise cars against each other?
Like I say, we were just over in the corner with the, petitions, petitions were about here, you could stand up and yell at each other and everything like that, but it was.
Those things that you
Yeah,
got there.
yeah. And remember, the rest of it was all Barbie. That's not true. There was, there was Big Jim and
Yeah.
He-Man and all that. And of course, every once in a while they'd go hit, like He-Man. All of a sudden He-Man, there was a big department, prelim. Also in the very, very beginning, when we first got there, there was a department called prelim, which was the idea places where sizzlers came out. My job was to make the car look good. His job was to make it and make it go down the track and everything. So by the time it got to us, it was pretty much filtered down. But prelim did crazy things. There was, you go in there, things would be flying around and tracks and everything. But that was their job. Their job was not to make it. Their job was to come up with the ideas. And what's fun is to find the prototypes that they came up with. They look ugly as sin, but they do things. And Bob's had plenty of those. Do the wheelie or do this or something else. And they weren't meant to look pretty. They were just meant to work. So that was kind of fun.